If you're wondering why families are showing up for tours, after the tour they seem hesitant to enroll or they start ghosting you, this video is for you. I'm Jaren and I'm here to help you fill every spot in your childcare business without discounting a dime. In this video, I'll show you my exact 4-step playbook that I used in my parents' business to get 2 out of every 3 families to say yes. So let's jump right in. So before we get to the first steps, let's talk about the problem. Do you remember a time, maybe in high school, you noticed this cute guy in your school and had a crush from afar? Then you actually had a class with him, or maybe you had one conversation with him, and you realized it's not so great. Maybe his breath smelled like onions, or had spinach in his teeth, or teeth were a little crooked, or, maybe just talking to him, you realized that he's kind of a jerk. Somehow there was a mismatch in between him from afar and him up close. And if you are consistently getting tours booked and people are showing up, it means that you have an awesome online presence, but there might be a mismatch with your presence in real life. So the first step in the tour playbook is to do a sniff test. The classic, is that me? So pretty much when you are in a place, like when I was working in my parents' center before they sold it, you get so used to the smell, you get so used to the sounds, you pretty much start to drown the sounds out and you don't really notice it. It's hard to really see your business like a parent who's never stepped in there before sees it. So something I would encourage you to do is just take a step out, get some fresh air, and kind of clear your nose, open your ears to the sound of nature, and try to put yourself in the shoes of a new mama who is coming to tour that day. When you walk into the front door of your center, what do you smell? Hopefully it's not a poopy diaper, but that's what I mean by the sniff test. What do you smell? It's the green beans that are cooking, not giving the most pleasant smell, and hopefully it's a smell of clean, because that signifies we care. Your child will be safe here, health-wise. So the second thing you want to ask yourself when you open that door is, what sounds am I hearing? Is there peace? Or do you hear children screaming, children fighting? Do you hear teachers yelling? These are sounds that we might start to drown out, but to a new parent, it's like, oh, it's chaotic in here. I'm not really comfortable here with all this loud noise. I don't think my kid's going to be comfortable here. And speaking of chaos, another thing, just what do you see? Is there order, like when you walk in and in the classrooms? Because again, just the feeling of chaos, it's not inviting, it's not welcoming. I remember I have a friend who was looking for pre-K in Georgia, and they offer a free pre-K program. She was like, even though it's free, I'm not comfortable staying here, so I'm surely not going to send my child here. And that's how important it is. Also, she mentioned she saw staff running back and forth, and she was welcomed in, but no one really acknowledged her for 5 minutes. And again, that's not super welcoming. And if you find it challenging to step away and really look at your center with fresh eyes, I definitely encourage you to invite a family member, a friend, someone you can trust to always keep it 100 with you and tell you the truth, and have them, pretend like they're doing a tour and tell you what they see, what they hear, what they smell. So step number 2 is having a warm welcome. When a family shows up to tour, you definitely want to introduce yourself with a smile. You likely already have their name and the kid's name for when they booked the tour, but verify that you have the correct spelling, that you're pronouncing it correctly, and that you use their names throughout the tour. And verify you have their contact info, like their email and their phone number, so you can follow up. And this is my best tip for starting your tour out well. So after the introductions, you're going to want to ask them this one question. What are the 3 factors that are most important to you in your childcare search? This is awesome because pretty much you get the family to tell you what they're looking for, and then you can tailor your tour to what is most important to them. Most of the time I got parents, they would either tell me safety or curriculum. A lot of times they didn't even have three. There was just one important factor to them. And so if they mentioned safety, I would go ahead and point out, so we have just keypad entry, only access, our doors are locked. All of our teachers are CPR, first aid, fire safety certified. We do background checks. Essentially point out all the things I can think of that would help the mom feel like we have safety in place for their child. And I heard safety, but I actually think the one answer I heard the most was curriculum. So a lot of moms care that their child is not just showing up to a place to be babysat and someone just watch them while they watch TV. They want their children actually learning. So when someone mentioned curriculum, instead of just saying, like we used to use the Abeka curriculum. So instead of just like telling them the name of your curriculum, that doesn't really mean much to a parent because we don't really know like the curriculums that are out there, what they entail. So we went off of the Georgia Early Learning and Development Standards, GELS for short. So I would say, oh yes, I would love to show you that. We would walk into the classroom and essentially they had the curriculum up there. And I would give them a basic overview to let them know what's involved in that curriculum. But I would go a little something like this. So as you can see on our curriculum sheet, every day they are covering learning in these 5 core areas. They get to develop their physical and motor skills, their social and emotional skills, their language and literacy, their cognitive/general knowledge, and then also learning through play. So as you can see, it's very well-rounded and they are developing all these areas at our center. Another thing that was super impressive to parents is in the sort of older classrooms, like starting in the 3-year-old classroom to 4-year-old classroom, we actually did assessments to make sure that they were meeting certain milestones and learning what was appropriate for that age, like their numbers, their ABCs, their colors, their writing, things of that nature. So that was definitely something that parents found impressive. So any type of assessment that you do, definitely mention those. Step number 3 in our effective tour playbook was that we let them see the classrooms in action and engage with the teacher that would be teaching their class that they chose to enroll. So what that would look like is I, as a director, would greet them at the door, welcome them, find out what was most important to them at the tour, but then we would say, hey, let's go see the classroom. And from there, a lot of times the teacher, I would let them take over explaining the curriculum and what a day in their classroom looks like. And I would help manage the classroom as best as I could while they connected with that parent. And that is so important because they get that face-to-face interaction with the person who will be spending the most time with their child at the center. So it's important for them to make that connection and really see if they like that person and can go ahead and build that trust. Another thing that I think is awesome about coming, like doing your tours at a time where there's like the circle time where they're playing outside, is a lot of times parents will bring their children with them on the tour. And it's a beautiful thing when the child is just so comfortable. They get down, they're exploring the classroom, they're interacting with the other kids, and they want to stay and play. So I think that's one of the biggest things that win over a mom's heart when they see, oh, my kid really likes it here, they're happy here. I think this would be a good fit for us. I know, so because sometimes at the center it can be chaotic, and I have heard of owners who choose to do tours during nap time so they can be more focused. And if you're a one-woman show or a one-man show, you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes they do it after hours. Those are options. But I do think seeing the classroom in action is something that really moves the moms to action, to want to get their kids doing what they see the other kids doing. Okay, let's talk about step number 4. I'm going to mention step 4, but I just thought about a bonus step 2. So let's talk about step 4 first. The most important thing is to finish the tour with clear instructions on what to do next. So if you actually have an opening for that child, and you say, hey, within an hour, you should get an email with the link to our enrollment forms, a link to pay our registration fee, and You can let them know some sort of urgency. We only have 2 spots left. And essentially, when you pay and fill out this first enrollment form, that secures your spot in our program. So we understand you may be considering other choices, but we'll send this out to you and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Doesn't have to really involve any pressure, like essentially just an invitation. If you are full, I say still be doing tours because you never know when you might have an opening, might have a family move out. Just let them know, hey, I'm gonna send you our waitlist link and you can sign up to be on our waitlist, or you can sign them up on your waitlist right there on the spot. Just let them know what are the clear next steps. And sort of a cherry on the top at the end is, if you can afford it, just little goodie bags that just have something in there, like a few mints, a pen, something branded with your logo and your name on it. Anything of that nature. It can be really small. It can be a bottle of water, just something to give to them. I think that always leaves like a chef's kiss at the end of the tour and establishes goodwill and trust with that family. So before we get to our bonus tip, I do want to let you know I have a free resource, the Mama Magnet Checklist. Giving an effective tour is one of the 5 components I have in there. So check it out if you want to see the other 5 components for just learning how to effortlessly attract mamas to your childcare program. Okay, so bonus tip. We didn't personally do this at my parents' childcare center, but I think it's a brilliant idea, and some of my friends have talked about how effective it was for them making their childcare decision. So how when you go to a car dealership and you get to drive the car for a little bit, you can do something like that in your center and call it like a trial day. Really, it could be like a couple of hours. When my son was enrolling in childcare, they let him stay for like 2 hours on a day before his actual start date. And again, this kind of goes back to, if your child is comfortable in the environment and they're happy there, then really that's oftentimes the most important thing to a mom. So if they can see, oh, this is what it's actually like, and sort of live a day in the life of being in your community, and like get to see what that communication looks like, what kind of pictures they would get in the day or updates, and again, seeing if their child likes it, and which sometimes it could take time for children to adjust, but oftentimes if a kid is already used to childcare, when they're in a place where they're happy, having fun, it's really easy to see. So that's just a bonus tip if you really want to make a standout impression and give moms just absolute reassurance that they would be happy in your childcare family. So I hope this helps you get more yeses on your tours and easier enrollments at full price. If you find that you're also struggling with retention, meaning as soon as you get a family in the door, it seems like the family you already had is dipping out, I made a video for you called Why Your Best Families Are Quietly Leaving. You can check it out, linked up here. See you in the next one.